you could say you're focused, working 12 hours a day, and maybe you are pretty focused, but it really matters where your mind's at, and where attention goes, energy flows. But if my attention is 100% on my business, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, I'm looking at the list of people that I'm going to call, and I'm 100% there. I internalize that mindset the best for locking weeks. I lock myself in a room, I lock the door, there's nobody else in there, and I'm doing nothing but looking at the spreadsheet, and deals just every single login.
Welcome to another episode of Prosper Pod in the Prosper x Harry Potter studio here in Orlando. We got my boy Cruz and Ian with me. What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Doing great.
Good.
How's it feel to be in the beautiful sunshine state of Florida?
It's great. It's great.
Orlando's not the best.
Yeah, Orlando sucks. I don't know why anybody would live here. Traffic is terrible. It's just, if you live in Florida, why would you not live by the beach?
Yeah, I've never wanted to rip my hair out more.
It's the first time I've been here. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to Arizona, honestly. It's been a great week. Been convention week, 2026 summit, but that's about all that's good about Orlando.
You want to know something funny? Do you know anybody? Do you guys know anybody that lives in Orlando?
No.
All right. Next time you meet somebody that lives in Orlando, like if you talk to them or like ask them or make plans, every single dude, me and Claudia have talked about this. Like every single person we know that lives in Orlando, anytime they're talking about like going somewhere, it's always like, it's an hour away. Oh, it's an hour. Like
It's like 12 miles.
In the context of like 15 minutes. Like, you know how it's like 15 minutes away. Like anywhere else.
Yeah,
they're like,
I thought Miami traffic was bad. It's
only an hour.
It's like there's traffic for no reason.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. So anyway, jumping into it though, my first question is for you, Cruz. How long you been in the industry for those that don't know?
About 10 months.
10 months. What's your biggest month?
Like 70K.
70K. What did you produce last year?
Last year, 320.
This close.
Yeah.
This close to President's Club.
Yeah.
You gonna hit it this year?
Yeah, no doubt.
What's your personal production goal this year?
I'd say at least 500. Say most likely 650 at the lowest.
You know what you should make your goal? What was your first month in this business?
May.
So this would be your first full year in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You should make your goal to beat my first full year production wise.
Mm-hmm.
548.
Can definitely beat Jonah.
Yeah.
It's not too hard.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if you can. 548.
Don't make it a competition.
I'm 100% beating that this year.
Say less.
1,000%.
You told me you were going for my 780 record.
I was serious.
All right. What's your personal production goal this year?
800.
800?
Yeah.
Let's go. You'll hit that. Cruz, let me ask you though, now that you've been in the industry for coming on a year, how has your mindset and perspective shifted from when you first got your insurance license to now?
It's completely changed. I'd say when I first came into it, I was definitely in a little bit of a scarcity mindset, but I also gave myself no choice but to succeed, to do what I needed to do because I had bills. I had stuff I needed to pay for, and I gave it the shot. And I'm a very competitive person. Ian's one of my best friends since high school. He came into it. He did well his first month, and I was like, I can't let this dude beat me. I can't, be less. So it kind of gave me a non-obligation to make sure that, everything that I'm doing here is absolutely with my full effort. And I wanted to see myself within, my first 2 years at the top of the company. And I see other people, and the biggest thing I've thought about is I'll have a conversation with someone or, hear conversations outside of myself. And I wonder, why can't I be that person? There's nothing special about that person. It's just knowledge and experience. And that's the only thing you need to get to that place. So I think that when I first came in, it was more of just trying to really survive, and trying to find a way to get to the point where I was making, if not the same, more money than I was making before my previous job. And now it's turned into more of a long-term play and the business itself and building that over the next like 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And this morning we were talking about how you want to be in this business. You want to be following the 3-3-3, and it's 3 people that you're mentoring, helping to get to your position. It's 3 people that are on the same level as you, that you're in competition against, and then 3 people you're receiving mentorship from, that you're actively working on getting to their level. And so you guys are a prime example of your brothers, your best friends, but you're also highly competitive against each other. So I always tell guys too, getting into this business, where find a running buddy, where it's somebody getting into the business at the same time as you, that you can help hold each other accountable, help push each other, and bring out the best in each other. So talk about how that relationship between you guys has allowed you guys to push and level up your production and level up your skill set.
Good.
I mean, having somebody that is a close friend of yours, you obviously want to see them win.
Yeah.
But it's super important to have that healthy competition, because the more he wins, the more I want to win. The better he does, the better I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If he's doing 70K, well, I'm sitting there thinking, respectfully, Cruz is not better than me. I want to go kick his ass. I'm going to do 70K.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You have to have that competitive drive. I think it's like that horse metaphor where it's like the 2 Belgian horses, one of them pulls 25, one of them pulls 25, together they pull 75 or whatever the numbers are there. But putting 2 people together of equal strength and combined, they're going to output more because they're competing with each other.
Yeah.
I think that's very necessary when you first come to the business as well. But personally, for myself, now being in the business for 10 months, I think that it's kind of shifted in terms of needing exact competition, because that fades after a certain amount of time. The want for that exact competition. So I think that for me, it's been finding it within myself, different reasons and why I need to do well in this business, and finding different reasons to push myself every day. So I think that when you're first getting in your first 90 days, it is super crucial to find that competition, whether it's a close friend or whatever. But I think after that, you have to start to realize within yourself that you have to find other ways, because otherwise that won't last forever.
That's a fact.
I think we're super lucky to have that relationship, and we came in at the exact same time and are working in the same office, like right next to each other at the same desk. But the reality is a lot of agents are going to come into the business. They're not going to have that relationship or somebody in the business, and they need to find that regardless.
Yeah.
So for an agent coming in that's looking for something like that for a running buddy, you don't need anybody you don't even need to have a conversation with them and be like, hey, you're my running buddy, I'm competing with you. You could just be sitting in the office super hungry, looking at the top of the leaderboards every week and like, it's the same name.
Yeah.
And just internally you're like, I'm coming for that guy. He doesn't even know it.
Yes.
But I've got this chip on my shoulder and I see his name up there every week and my name belongs there. That's your running buddy.
Yes. Well said. And also ask him, hey, how many dollars you at? How many dollars at for today? How many closes you got? And check in on him. And like you said, you couldn't. But here's the truth too. Yeah, I mean that to a degree, I guess whatever you're most comfortable with, but I guarantee you, anybody coming into, if I'm a brand new agent and you're new, we're both new, or we both started roughly the same time, I go up to you, I'm like, hey dude, what's going on? We're going to spark a conversation. We're just naturally going to become buddies. And we're like, hey, is that cool if I help hold you accountable? You help hold me accountable? Boom, boom, boom. And we just do a daily check-in with each other. That's huge. Because there's mentorship, but there's also but you got to be careful of this. Mm-hmm. Because you got to be careful of who your running buddy is. 100%. Because make sure it's somebody that's going to make you uncomfortable. Because if you choose the wrong person, they will bring you down. So make sure it's somebody that you elevate upwards. But that's just that sense of healthy competition that's so inherently in us, and that's important. Let me ask you this, Ian. Let's say if I was going to shadow you for a week and be a fly on the wall and just watch you, what would surprise me about your schedule or your daily inputs?
I honestly think what would surprise you is just the level of focus. Like, I think if a brand new agent sat down next to me and they're like, this guy's performing at a high level, I want to know what he does. How does he do it? I'm going to guess they would be pretty surprised because they're expecting some sort of magic, some sort of sauce.
Yep.
I'm not special, but I will sit down at my desk and look at my computer screen for 12 hours straight and focus on the goal all of those 12 hours without being distracted. That's probably going to surprise you. We're like, try to ask this guy a question. He was like, yo, I'm dialing right now. I'm in the middle of this. I'm focused on this. There's nothing crazy that I'm doing differently. I'm focused. I'm consistent. I work really hard. But I have the same skill set that everybody else has for the most part. So I think a brand new agent sitting down, they'd be like, this guy's a robot. Like, he just works.
Yes, exactly. And to add on to that, obviously you're a stud and you're a killer. But I think another thing that they're gonna realize is it's not that deep. Like, I'll give you an example myself personally, where Claudia, she was, and she wouldn't mind if I said this, bro, she was terrified to call mortgage leads and run mortgage. And this was back when we were in person. It wasn't like she could sit in the living room and listen to me close. And so she was calling final expense. She's like, no, like, I don't want to do mortgage. Like, I leveled, da-da-da-da. My Claudia, like, you need to do mortgage. And I was like, I tell you what, just like come with me on a day of in-homes. She's like, no, like, I need to run business myself. I'm like, Claudia, just come with me. I'm gonna book and then I'm gonna have a stacked day. Come out with me in the field, go with me in the home, listen to me close, da-da-da-da. And so she came up, we drove up to Wisconsin. We ran a full day of in-homes. I wrote 12 grand that day. And just the number one thing I'm like, and I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, and this was like when me and Claudia kind of like, she had just moved up to Chicago. We just started living together. The relationship's still a little bit new. And I'm like, she's gonna see me throw down. Like, she's gonna be impressed. and we're driving home and I'm like, so what do you think? I was like, every person we sat in front of, we closed. Wrote 7 applications, 12 grand. I think it was five appointments. There was a couple of his and hers. And she's like, oh, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's really not, you really don't do anything special, Jonah. And I'm like, cool. But like, she'd tell you that if she was sitting here, where it's like, it's not that deep, dude. It's just, we're calling people, they're filling it out, they requested it, and we're helping them with life insurance. So the number one thing that any top producer you shadow, to your exact point, what it is, it's the determination and it's the level of focus and the discipline that it takes, not the actual magic sauce. Like, everybody's like, show me the sauce, show me the sauce. It's like, no, this is the sauce of, actually, it's really boring.
I think the focus part is huge. And I mean, I want to dive a little deeper on that, because you could say you're focused working 12 hours a day, and maybe you are pretty focused, but it really matters where your mind's at. If
yes.
I'm wandering a little bit, like maybe I'm scrolling Instagram reels in between, or I'm texting my girlfriend in between calls or something, your attention is focused on something else. And where attention goes, energy flows. But if my attention is 100% on my business, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, I'm looking at the list of people that I'm going to call, and I'm 100% there.
And it is impossible to be thinking about two things simultaneously, be focused on two things simultaneously.
Absolutely.
Your brain can't do it.
Like, for example, it's lock-in week right now. We're in Orlando at the lock-in, and I internalize that mindset the best for lock-in weeks. I lock myself in a room. I lock the door. There's nobody else in there, and I'm doing nothing but looking at the spreadsheet, and deals just every single lock-in. It's like magic, but it's not. It's called flow state.
Yes.
You have to stay in flow state. You're never going to get there if your attention is focused on two different things.
Let's talk about that, because that's an important topic, flow state. Let me ask you, Cruz, because I've seen both of you personally, and I mean, every single agent they go through weeks where it's like, bro, you're just on a banger. You're just back to back to back to back. You're unstoppable. It feels like you're just closing. You're not even trying. You're closing with your eyes closed. You're in the process. Like, you're not even like, a part of you isn't even like physically conscious. You're just going through the motions, and it's just smooth. And there's other times where you're like, dude, like I'm frustrated. I'm getting crapped on this week. Da 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 da. So for you, Cruz, when you're having those flow state weeks, what do you think is the common denominator? Is it lead spend, schedule, inputs, habits? Like, what are a few things that like I did this or I have this in place and has allowed you to have those solid weeks?
Definitely schedule and mindset. I think the times where I'm doing the best in this business is where I have the reason why I'm doing this business in the top of my head 24/7. When I'm sitting there at my desk, I know exactly why I'm doing this, and it's for my future and for the reasons of what I want to build in my future, and I'm very sure of that. I think the times where you get lackadaisical in this business or in general in life is when you aren't sure about your why.
Yes.
So I think that everyone has to have a why, and that's very, very important. I think that's the game changer at the end of the day. Like whenever I'm having a can I cuss on this podcast?
Sure.
Whenever I'm having a shit day, it's easy to think about, all the bad things that are happening. But if I remind myself, no matter, if I got told to, got hung up on 15 times in a row, as long as I can have that thought of why I'm doing this and what my future looks like, that'll continue to have me excel and do what I need to do. Otherwise, if you forget that, you're going to give up. You're going to be lazy. You're going to be like, all right, I take the rest of the day off, go home, reset tomorrow. But in reality, every single time that I've had a bad day and I've decided to remember those thoughts and stick it out, I've gotten a sale by the end of the day. I've gotten 2 sales by the end of the day because of those extra hour, extra 2 hours, extra 3 hours that you sat there and you remembered why you're doing it.
I just wanted to touch on one thing you said there. You get hung up on 15 times in a row when you're not in flow state. You're distracted. You came into the office late, whatever. You're not there 100%. That impacts you so much more than getting hung up on 15 times in a row when you're in flow state. Like last lock-in in Tampa, there was a day, last lock-in in Tampa, I did 36,000 for the week. There was a day, it was Thursday, I went 1 for 9 on presentations. 9 presentations in one day. I closed one of them, and it was the last one. So for the entire day, start to finish, I was 0 for 8. It didn't affect me at all.
Same.
I just kept going. There was no emotional reaction. There was no change in my state of mind because I was so locked in and I was so mentally there of why I was doing what I was doing. I was going to be the number 1 that week. That's what I was doing. I had to work harder than everybody else. I was very clear on that. It didn't affect me at all. So if you're there, you get hung up on 15 times in a row. It's like water under the bridge. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change anything. If you're not there, you're distracted, that's going to impact you heavily. That's going to affect the rest of your day. You might take 30 minutes off. You might jump on the phone for 15 minutes. You might go get lunch, take an extra 30 minutes. It's going to affect you. It's going to take you out of your rhythm. That's going to eat you up for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I can relate with that personally. I've even had 100K months where I've had not one, but multiple days. I came home at 0. My day was stacked. So that's where I always go back. It always goes back to, it's very easy to overestimate what you can do in a short period of time and underestimate what you can do in a long period of time with consistent inputs. Consistent inputs is what's important. I got to take a moment to praise you, bro, because 36K is insane. I've never even done 36K in a week.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I was trying to beat your record.
Let's go. Dude, if you can rip 36K in a week, you can definitely do 100K in a month.
We're definitely going to hit our first 100K month this year.
Yes.
I'm thinking the first 2 quarters. Realistically, I'm shooting for April, first 100K month.
Both of you guys?
100%, easily. Yeah.
The real question is, who's going to do 100K first?
Oh, definitely me.
Yeah?
100%, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Pissed him off, too.
Better do it by April, because I'm telling you.
I tell you what, $1,000 to whoever does it first between the two of you.
That's great incentive. All right.
You got this podcast as the witness.
Sounds good.
First to 100K, $1,000 cash bonus. But let me ask you this, Cruz, because you're starting to bring in agents, you're mentoring them, and we're kind of talking a little bit before this podcast about different mentorship tactics to get your agents winning faster. I want to get very tactical here within the sales process. When an agent doesn't close a sale, where's that part where they got close but they didn't close? Where's the disconnect? Where's the fall off? And what are you seeing that most agents are doing wrong that allows them to not help that family?
They're not confident in themselves. They don't express the line of authority that you have to whenever you're dealing with something of this sort, because you're asking people very personal information when you're going through an application. So they have to trust that you are exactly who you are, especially it being over the phone, because they're not able to see in person, look you in the eyes. So when you're tying down a sale, you have to be personable, but you also have to be very professional. And if you're not on the very fine line of that, and you do too much of one thing or less of the other, then there's a very high chance of losing that sale. And I made that mistake so many times. Like, I lost so many sales when I first started because I either tried to be non-emotional and just act like it was a transaction, or too friendly and they get uncomfortable. They're like, why am I going to trust my life insurance, with this? Because they just met me. I'm trying to be, so I think
with them.
Exactly. So I think that there's a very fine line of how you act when you're speaking to someone, and you're showing the correct line of authority whenever you're first presenting yourself and in the first, few minutes of the conversation. But also when you get into the application, you're asking them personal information. You start, kind of asking them, the little questions that are kind of going to have them put their shoulders down a little bit and open up a little bit more. And then that's whenever you jump into the more personal questions where they're going to be able to, trust you with the information they're giving you. So I think that's been the biggest game changer with agents, is understanding what that fine line looks like of how to speak to the clients and really tie that down. And also whenever you're asking them the questions like the social, driver's license, and banking especially, you need to be nonchalant about it. And if they give you a objection, you just have to kind of blow it off. You have to have a rebuttal right then and there that you respond to them with, that's going to basically verify that, this is a normal thing. We've went through this whole thing. We've discussed everything. You know exactly who I am. There's no reason not to trust me.
Yes. I want to circle back and I want to hear your response, Ian. But first of all, Cruz, I want to ask you a follow-up question off of that. So you said confidence. So let me ask you this to capitalize off of that question. Would you rather hire an agent that has not only has the confidence, but also has the skill set and is a killer salesman, but has a shitty mindset? Or would you rather hire somebody that is a shitty salesman and sucks at sales, but has a solid mindset?
Solid mindset, 100%.
Why?
Because when you have a solid mindset, that's something you built yourself. That's something you've built over years of personal work. And obviously, you can have somebody be an inspiration, motivation to you in your life that's, inspiring you to have that correct mindset, but nobody can make that decision for you. So if you're sitting there just trying to teach someone over, day over day over day, how to keep your mind correct, and they don't want to, then it's impossible. But if you bring somebody into the business who absolutely sucks at sales, is just slow getting into, but has the correct mindset of, this is what I'm doing. I'm not giving up. There is no other way out of this.
And I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can teach everything, because we've done the time and the work to acquire those skills. Then we just pass them on to you, and you have the mindset, and then you can run. And then you do the same thing to your agents that you're bringing on. It's 100%, no question.
I can teach you sales, but I can't teach you a shitty mindset.
Correct. I've tried to, and 90% of the time it fails, because that person just doesn't understand that they have to do that for themselves.
A house built on shaky ground cannot last. A house built on sand will crumble.
It's good, Jonah. It's good.
Ian, let me ask you. So going back to the original question, where do you see most agents failing in the sales process when they're new?
I think it's a combination of things, right? I don't think it's a single determining factor. Um, I think you got to be quick on your feet. You got to be witty. So I think a lot of agents lose that sale because they're not quick enough on their feet. Like maybe they're not sharp with their objections. They don't know how to handle those really quickly. Because if you pause for a little bit, the client kind of subconsciously thinks like, oh, I'm right, I stumped you. And that happened to me for a long time. There was a little bit of a slump in my sales process. When I was getting out of it, I was like, all right, what am I doing wrong? So I started recording all of my calls. And there was a pattern that I recognized in a lot of my closes and a lot of my intros when I was getting hung up on in the intro, where it was like they would hit me with an objection and I paused. And then I responded. It didn't have the same impact. Even if the response was as good, it didn't have the same impact at all. And I was like, okay. And I started being a little quicker. And it's the confidence behind that. What that tells the client is like you're confident in what you're saying. You don't have to think about it. It's just automatic. You're confident.
Yes.
People feel that energy over the phones. And
I was just working with he's dialing right outside of here, right outside of this room. I'm a new agent this week where whenever he says something, he says it in an uptone. Where he's like, he's almost asking a question. And I said, dog, like, you know all the rebuttals and you're saying everything perfectly, but it's how you're saying it where it sounds like you're asking them. And that's where you're getting the resistance. You got to end in downtones. Like, you just got to answer with assumptiveness and 100% confidence.
Also, I think the part for being personal versus professional.
Actually, I want to add one more thing before we move on to that. One thing that really helped me with objection handling, confidence, not getting into a slump or staying out of a slump, was knowing that you have the advantage. You have the advantage over these clients. And what I mean by that is we have the ability to practice the objections, practice the script, practice our sales process, watch training videos, personally develop. It's not like these clients are getting together like, all right, dude, like, all right, when Ian calls me, like, we're going to hit him with this rebuttal.
We need to come up with some better objections.
Yeah. Like they never heard that rebuttal. And so it's, you have the advantage where as long as you're a steward to the game and you focus on perfecting your craft, you're going to win. That's it.
100%.
So, but your second point, what was your second point?
Just about being personal versus professional throughout the sales process. Like for me, I'm very professional in the intro, and then I become very personal in the FI.
That's good.
And then I go back to professional in the application. By the time I've got through the FI and I'm getting to an application after a presentation, I've built enough value up that my tone switches. So I go from being all friendly, a much more lackadaisical tone, to statements, not questions. There's a lot of questions in the FI. I'm building up a lot of value. I'm making them think, come up with the answers, sell themselves. As soon as they've sold themselves, I don't need to do any more selling. I don't need to build any more value, trust, things like that. I switch that and I go straight into more statements. So through the application, I'm much more professional. Through the FI, I'm much more personal. Through the intro, I'm professional. It's kind of like a flip-flop. You need a little bit of everything. Like he said, a little too much of personal. They don't respect you. They don't trust you. They don't believe in you. A little too much of professional. They don't want to work with you because it's transactional.
And you also need to have the balance of, like you said, building the why, going deep in the why, but not building the why too much. Because I've seen agents where, dude, they literally have the sale. Like they have it. Once and they just keep talking. And then they just keep talking. And then they literally self-sabotage themselves and talk themselves out of the sale.
That's uncertainty in the agent's mind, though.
You just got to shut up and help the client.
So you got to be able to recognize when you've said enough. They're going to give you some key indicator that's like, they got it.
Yes.
They're ready.
And be okay with silence.
And once they're ready, you need to jump on it.
Last question for you, and then we'll wrap up because I want to dig deeper into that. Self-confidence is one thing that the majority, almost everybody struggles with. If you don't struggle with self-confidence, you're lying to yourself. And so coming in and not having that confidence in yourself that you can do this to developing, becoming a top producer. Let me ask you, Ian, what was that internal script in your mind that flipped? And what is your track record you tell yourself?
To develop more self-confidence? That I can
not only develop more self-confidence, but become the producer that you like, become a 50, 60, $70,000 a month producer. And the person, like, eventually, dude, you're already $100,000 a month producer. I can tell just by talking to you guys and listening to you guys now, you both are. It hasn't manifested and come to fruition yet, but you believe it. And so the fact that you believe it, and that means you will achieve it and it will come into existence. So what is your track record to yourself? Or what is your thought process that allows you to not only get to where you have, but it's going to allow you to continue to develop to where you want to go?
From day one, it was always, and this is what recruited me into the business, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yep.
And that took me so far. That will take me also where I want to go, but just on a much higher level where, well, he's doing it, I can do it. But for me, I'm very big on the personal development, the stuff outside of the business. It has a direct correlation to my performance in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a proven track record of stacked up wins in my personal life, that brings it, I carry that with me into the office, into each sale, into each phone call, and every day. And then that would compound into that massive result over the month. But that's what it is for me, is like, prove to yourself you are who you say you are. Like, you said you're going to do it. Stack those wins. It's little micro decisions we make on a daily basis. A lot of us are lying to ourselves. Like, we negotiate with our mind 24/7. Say you're going to go do this, but then you don't actually follow through on it. Nobody actually knows the decisions because they're micro and they're all internal.
Keep the promises you made to yourself.
Yeah, but it has a really, really massive effect on your self-confidence and your self-belief, because your word is everything. So if you're not keeping your word to yourself, you don't believe in yourself. But if you have a proven track record of stacked up wins where you just know I follow through on everything I say I'm going to do, it's almost like kind of telling yourself, like, yeah, I'm really that guy. I promise you. I said I'm going to do 100K. Like, I'm going to go do 100K.
Did you know this morning? Funny story. Just happened this morning. This morning was the only time I negotiated with myself in 4 years.
Wow.
The only time about going to the gym.
I'm glad I was there for you, bro.
And dude, you saved me, bro. Shout out to you. Because for real, I cannot, unless there's been a couple times like I woke up the morning, I've just been sick, like deathly sick. And that's an except. Other than that, there has not been a single time in the past 4 to 5 years that I have said I'm going to go to the gym the night before and I haven't woken up and gone to the gym. And so for those that are watching, I was talking with Joe. Me and Joe were talking till 2:30 a.m. And we had plans. We were going to meet at the gym at 6, so 5:30. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a couple hours of sleep, and then I wake up. My alarm goes off. I'm up. I misread your text because I texted you at 2:30, and I thought you said, "Oh, bro, I didn't think you were going." So I thought that meant like, "Oh, you were staying back." And so then I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go back to bed." And then I lay down for not even 10 minutes, and then I get a call from you. You're like, "Dude, where are you at?" And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "You're there?" He's like, "Yeah." "Why aren't you here?"
He sounded like he just woke up. He was in the gym 10 minutes later.
Yeah, you were in bed.
And I was literally walked in the gym 10 minutes later after that phone call.
I thought you were messing with us too. Like I thought that you were like there the whole time, or you were already in your car, like about to leave when you got there. Because I was like, "There's no way this guy just like literally rolled out of bed 10 minutes ago and is here already."
Dude, I actually.
And then I looked at you up close, and you were like barely awake.
We made it.
Also,
we made it.
There's one thing I want to add to that. From the time I've known you, you've never said you're going to do something and then not followed through on it. So there wasn't even an ounce of doubt in my mind that if I showed up to the gym at 6 a.m., you weren't going to be there.
Yes.
Like, I was dead confident. I used that as fuel this morning. I did not want to get up. I did the same thing. I went to bed super late, got a tiny little bit of sleep, woke up really tired. The alarm goes off, and I'm in my mind like, Jonah's going to be in the gym at 6 a.m. 100% he's going to be there. I need to show up as well.
And those are the people you surround yourself with and you run with. The people you can rely on and have your back through the thick and thin. Stay consistent, keep the promises. So in closing, rapid fire question. So first question for you, Cruz. What's the most underrated sales advice?
Saying less is going to get you a lot further than saying too much. So not overcomplicating the sales process for sure. So finding something that, someone else that is close to you is using, that works, and duplicating that in your own way and running with it and not continuing to change. So, because once you find something that works, using that over and over and over is going to bring you success. If you continue to change it just because you had one bad day where you're using that thing, you're like, what am I doing wrong? It's going to start you back from square one. And then you're going to continue to do that over and over and over. And I've seen that with so many agents, even agents of myself, where, they'll go back to square one. They'll start there. They'll be doing well for a few weeks. And then they'll have, 1-2 days where they're not doing well. And they'll come into my office and they're like, man, I just, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. I feel like I need to switch up my, what I'm saying here, and go back to, go to something else. I'm like, dude, just do the same thing. I promise you by the end of the day, that'll change. And this is literally an example that happened last week. Went back, dialed the rest of the day, ended up closing 2 by the end of the day. I'm like, there you go. It's as simple as that. You're overcomplicating the process.
Because the truth is, it's not what they're doing. It's their belief in what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so as them having that, or you tell them that and having them hear that is huge.
For sure.
Because they're like, oh, it actually works.
Yeah.
And then now that they believe it works, now they can apply it and get the results in order to get it to work. Ian, what is your personal development master? What is the most underrated daily habit?
It's morning and nightly routine. I think it's the most talked about and the least appreciated.
What's your morning and night routine?
Night routine on an ideal day, right, is short and sweet, but it's putting your day plan for the next day on paper. And then for me, I always put down what kind of man I want to be. I'm always working on virtues. So I put down the virtues, the person I want to be. Because the thoughts that are on your mind right before you go to bed are the thoughts that are going to influence you the most. Right? Your brain reaches a certain state right before you're falling into sleep. That's going to go into your subconscious. So you got to make sure it's the right information that you're thinking about when you're in that more vulnerable state, because your subconscious is influenced by that. And then that translates to the morning. So then you wake up, you're already thinking about the stuff that you went to bed thinking about. You wake up, you're like, dude, I'm on fire. I know exactly what I'm going to do today. I don't have to make a bunch of decisions. I have clarity. I remember who I am. I remember what I'm working on. And you do the same thing. Put it on paper one more time. For the morning routine, my morning routine is like get up, hydrate, usually like electrolytes, journal, put the day on paper one more time, remind myself of the goals, the person that I'm working on being every day. And then it's hit the gas. I don't need to overcomplicate it, do a bunch of crazy stuff. For a while, I was working in breath work every single morning consistently. I just haven't been consistent on that, so there's no need to mention that one, but that was super influential as well.
I do breath work twice a day. Breath work and prayer, it's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. But I would just say the morning and night routine.
Yep.
You don't need to overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to take more than 5 minutes, but it's essential.
Doesn't have to be a Brian Johnson routine.
No.
Cruz, what's more important, confidence or competence?
Definitely confidence, for sure. If you can have unwavering confidence in any situation, even if you don't exactly know what you're talking about, then you're going to excel in sales for sure. That was the biggest thing for me that allowed me to get going so fast, was having unwavering confidence in what I was talking about, even though when I first started, I had no idea what I was talking about anyway. And from there, that's where you build the skill set on top of it. And then you already have the confidence to carry with you. And then your confidence continues to elevate. The biggest thing with that is once you start doing well and you start to reach a new level, is not letting your ego get in the way. And I think that's been a big, learning lesson for myself as well, is keeping your ego in check whenever you are doing well. Because if you let your ego get too high, you start to get complacent. And it's important to understand that, as I kind of touched on earlier, the long-term goal in this, if your ego gets in the way and you become complacent, those long-term goals will continue to get further away because you're delaying yourself. So keeping the same mindset and confidence 100% of the time, always.
Well said. All right, boys, thanks for hopping on the pod. A last question for you before we go. What's your personal production and agency goal by the end of the year?
Like I kind of touched on, I'd say personal at least 650. Agency, I want to be doing $1 million a month. I don't think that's hard to do.
Bam, Ian.
Personal production for 27 is 800K on my own pen, just so I can beat Jonah's record and PC and all the other cool stuff. And then team 400.
Let's go. And if these guys want to work with you, how can they find you?
Instagram, Cruz Dreiling.
Instagram, Ian Parrish.
Let's go. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you took value from this, please like, subscribe, and share with somebody else that would find value as well. Let's go kill it, guys. God bless. Peace.